Marvel's Avengers is a game that I believe has unlimited potential if done right. However, there are many things holding this game back from being a success. The player rate is dropping massively, and there is good reason for that. The endgame content is lacking. There aren't enough types of enemies to fight. The gear is not very rewarding since it's all stat based rather than cosmetic. There are many problems plaguing this game. However, these things can be turned around, whether it's in the sequel or whether it's through massive overhaul updates. So here are some ways that I believe Marvel's Avengers can survive and potentially thrive in today's climate. The first thing I believe this game needs is a mission structure overhaul. Because quite frankly, it is getting tiresome going through all the same levels, capturing the same objectives over and over as enemies mindlessly go to attack you. I believe that as the Avengers, you should be doing more cinematic things, saving civilians, or stopping world threats, but instead, you're fighting over points like it's King of the Hill, like it's some kind of multiplayer game. And I just don't see why that would be something you would do in a cooperative experience. It's not a bad thing to have some objectives to complete. It's not a bad thing to go and secure points, but it's just overdone. And I think we need a bit more variety in the mission structure. In the story, we had great cinematic experiences with bridges collapsing and civilians that need to be saved. This type of stuff that we like to see in games such as Spider-Man Miles Morales, for example. I want to do that sort of stuff as the Avengers, not capturing points or trying to do all these elaborate schemes just to go get some loot that really isn't all that good in these safes, I just think there's things that would be better served for Avengers. I just want more of a challenge. I want more enemies to fight, more things to do when you're in these worlds. Now, a game like Destiny has these open worlds that you get to explore, and perhaps if Avengers wants to be like Destiny, maybe it'd be fun to be able to roam around New York more freely. Because it seems like some of these events that happen in Avengers are, rather than being random, they're just kind of there. When you go to face a boss, for example. That sort of thing happens in Destiny as a free objective that randomly occurs every so often. Now, that sort of thing would be fun for Avengers if you got to roam around and endlessly go through these activities rather than going to do the same type of missions over and over just to level up your characters. And next up, I believe this game does not come close to being interesting when it comes to the enemy variety. Sure, aim's fun and all to fight when there's a bunch of different robots, but that gets old quickly. I mean, come on. Ultimate Alliance had all sorts of different enemies like Doombots and Atlanteans and enemies in Mephisto's realm, etc. Whereas in this game, it's just stuck around aim. I want to fight like the Chitauri or Ultron or something like that. Now, it looks like they're adding the Kree, which is definitely a step up, but I need more. This is the Avengers we're talking about. If this is going to be a game that keeps me playing for years, I don't want to be fighting the same robots constantly. It gets annoying. And worst of all, the boss battles are incredibly boring because there's only about three or four different types of bosses you fight, which would be Abomination, Taskmaster, and the giant robots and stuff. Well, there should be a lot more than that. I don't want to be fighting Taskmaster every single day just to level up my character. I want something new. And these boss battles aren't that interesting either. it just seems like you're fighting a big spongy man that could take your damage for about 5 minutes or so, and then you're done. You're just kind of beating up a wall that doesn't really react to your hits or anything or do anything special. They just kind of eat up damage and do their regular attacks, and then they're done. I just think, if you're the Avengers, you should be taking on more than just Abomination. I mean, come on, how about the Masters of Evil, We need something for, like, each player on the team. Like, we shouldn't just be focused on one big target. There should be multiples of enemies attacking us at once, not just one Abomination or one big Taskmaster that gets shrunken every now and then, which is kind of funny if you had the Pym particles, but, it just seems like they could try a little harder on that one. And this might seem obvious as something to say, but this game desperately needs to fix its bugs, because I'd be playing with my friend and I'd just be going through this, a hive, and with almost every single floor, there'd be a glitch where an enemy would go underground to where you can't hit it, and therefore you have to restart the checkpoint. That, or the enemies just don't spawn at all, and it's like, oh, defeat all the enemies, Jarvis says. Well, where are they? Why should I have to keep resetting the checkpoint every single time? It just makes these hives a lot less rewarding and painful if you don't get anything good, really, plus all the time it takes just to try to complete one or two rooms. Like, my goodness, these bugs. And, there are some funny ones, too, like seeing characters jumping around all crazy, like their capes just flailing around and stuff. I mean, that's to be expected, but these game-breaking bugs can be annoying. And it just seems like they should have had these fixed by now, but what are you going to do? I guess that happens with every game. But it just would be nice to be able to complete my objectives without having to restart the checkpoint, wouldn't it? Now, here's where I'm going to throw both some praise and some criticism towards the DLC that we've gotten, or rather, not the DLC, but the free updates. I'm glad they're free. That is a massive plus. Like, they could be charging us for this, but they're not, which is good. And I'm enjoying all the story that we've gotten with Kate Bishop and Hawkeye so far, but it just seems like these expansions have been just a little too short. And it seems like once you play about an hour or two with these characters and go through their stories, you're done. And then you're left with nothing to do again. Which is where one of my next topics will come up, which is, where's the endgame content? Where's the raids? Where we need more to do. There's not enough ways to grind your levels without playing the same low-level missions over and over if you want to get your low-level characters up, because this game has this annoying mechanic where if your character is not a high enough power, then you can't play the mission. It'll be like that when you're on a team with someone. Why should I have to be so concerned with how high my power level is when I'm an Avenger? Why do I have to care what my power level is? I just want to play the missions with my friends. But instead it says, you don't get to play the mission. Your character's not powerful enough. Well, that just really grinds my gears. And I never should have to worry about this kind of thing ever. Period. I'm here to have fun. I'm not here to go, oh, guess I better play as my Thor because every other character is useless. That's just not right. And boy, oh boy, do we gotta talk about the gear. Because the gear is literally nothing but meaningless stats that you hardly even notice anyway unless they're Pym particles. It's gear that even shows up as a little thing when you're looking at it, but there's no cosmetic to it. It's just stats, which really makes no sense. If you're gonna have gear, why not make it sort of like Injustice, where you get to see what the gear looks like on your character? It makes slight differences, but adds stats. Now, I think you could still have costumes that would go over the gear if you wish. That would be a good idea. But if not, if you want to just make your own type of outfit, you should be able to have cosmetic gear. But no, instead, we just get this gear that does nothing but give us some stats and makes us spend all of our resources and wonder, why did I do this again? What's going to be the difference when I do this? I don't know. I guess it's just to power myself up so I could do that hive mission that's way too high of a power level for no reason whatsoever. But anyway. Now on to something that I think is fun, but definitely needs some tweaking, which is harm rooms. Now, the harm room is not a bad idea at all. It's just that it was executed kind of poorly. It's nice that they're adding some customization features to it, like being able to customize the amount of enemies and that sort of thing, but come on, let's be real. Do you really enjoy fighting enemies in this boring looking virtual room with almost nowhere to go, really? Because I don't. I want to be able to fight a horde on all sorts of different locales of the Marvel Universe. What if I want to fight these enemies, let's say, in Asgard? You know? Wouldn't that be fun? Or how about New York? Or, how about let's say when he's in Doctor Strange's, the building Doctor Strange is in. I can't believe it. The Sanctum Sanctorum. There we go. But yeah, how about that? Why are we stuck in this virtual room with just a couple platforms here and there when we could be fighting all over the place? So if you ask me, they need to maybe, I would say, do away with the harm room, or rather just expand it and let us go anywhere. And let us go however many waves we want. Because sometimes you just want to play a game like this with your friend and just fight endless waves of enemies to see how long you survive, or see how many you can kill in certain ways, or do things that you didn't realize you could do. I love horde modes in games, and I kind of like this one, but I do think it just needs a little bit more in order to be something that keeps me playing, which is something a game like this really needs to focus on. Ways to keep people playing long after they beat the story. And for one little last bonus idea I had that probably couldn't be implemented now, like maybe some of the other things I had on this list, but you know what? Let's add it anyway. Let's just do it. How about if you're playing offline by yourself with no one else, I think you should be able to switch to any hero you want so that you can get everything that you want to get on the map. Like, let's say, you start as, how about Black Widow? But it says you gotta smash this door in order to get the loot. But you can't do that because you're Black Widow. Well, how come I can't just switch to Hulk and do that myself? Or, if you can't switch to characters, maybe they should add something to where you can command your teammates to do it for you. Like you could say, Hulk, please go smash this door so I can get some meaningless loot that I don't really care about. Because that's what this game's all about. Loot. All about the loot. But yeah, things like that. Being able to command your teammates or switch to different team members would be a lot of fun in a Avengers game. But you're kind of restricted to playing as one character, which is fine, because I guess each character has plenty of reasons to stick with them. I mean, at least they're fun to play, and most of them have plenty of different abilities that keep them interesting. But how come I can't just play as someone else for once, Why do I have to start the mission as Captain America and stay as Captain America the whole time? If it's an Avengers game, I want to experience it as everybody at once. But maybe I'm thinking too much like Ultimate Alliance. Maybe I should just stick to Ultimate Alliance. Well, how about this? Maybe when this game was announced, I kind of expected it to be the successor to Ultimate Alliance. But then Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced, and I'm like, well, there goes that. But anyways, that's the end of my rant. Here, I'm gonna end the video on a more of a positive note. I think this game is potentially a great game in the making, because they're adding some good things to it. They're at least, they're not giving up. They're adding the Black Panther expansion, which looks really fun. We're going to be able to go to Wakanda. I can't wait for that. And, quite frankly, I really enjoyed the story. I just wish there's more of it. I just want more to do, Because, the game is fun to play. It is a great game to play if you have friends who will play it with you. My problem is just that maybe it's not the best when you're on your own. But that's okay. At least I have friends to play it with. But anyways, I'm rambling on now, so I'm going to end the video here. What do you guys think about my opinions on this game? Do you think this game could be saved? Did it disappoint you? Or do you love it and think, oh man, this guy is just complaining way too much? Well, I did spend a lot of money on this game considering I bought the collector's edition, so yeah, I do have reasons to be upset if my $150 game wasn't the best. But, first world problems. Anyways, be sure to like, share, and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Good night and good fight.